Welcome everyone to the second part of the lesson Adventures in a Banyan Tree. In the first part, we studied the first 4 paragraphs, and now we are moving to next part. Let's read. I think you are all ready with your textbook and notebook. Halfway up the tree, I had built a small platform on which I would often spend the afternoons when it wasn't too hot. I could read there, propping myself up against the bole of the tree with cushions taken from the drawing room. Treasure Island, Huckleberry Finn, the Mowgli stories, and the novels of Edgar Rice Burroughs and Louisa May Alcott made up my bag of very mixed reading. So let's start. Halfway up the tree, I had built a small platform on which I would often spend the afternoons when it wasn't too hot. Okay, now the boy says that he built a platform on the banyan tree. It was halfway up the tree, and he would often spend his afternoons on that platform made by him on the tree. When afternoons it wasn't too hot, the afternoons which were not hot, he spent such afternoons on the top of the platform which he built there on the top of the banyan tree. I could read there, propping myself up against the bole of the tree with cushions taken from the drawing room. And sitting on the platform that he built on the banyan tree, he would sometimes read, and he would prop himself, he would support his back against the bole of the tree. Bole here stands for trunk of the tree, and there are cushions also for him to sit down comfortably, and he managed to take the cushions from the drawing room. Treasure Island, Huckleberry Finn, the Mowgli stories, and the novels of Edgar Rice Burroughs and Louisa May Alcott made up my bag of very mixed reading. Here means he would read books like Treasure Island and the stories of Huckleberry Finn and the stories of Mowgli, and then he would sometimes read the novels of Edgar Rice Burroughs and Louisa May Alcott, and he read all the stories by sitting on the platform that he had built halfway up the banyan tree, and there was a very comfortable place for the boy to spend all afternoons which were not too hot. And he had a mixed type of reading. He never read a particular type of book every time, but he had a mixed type of books in his reading. When I did not feel like reading, I could look down through the banyan leaves at the world below, at grandmother hanging up or taking down the washing, and the cook quarreling with a fruit vendor, or at grandfather grumbling at the hardy Indian marigolds which insisted on springing up all over his very English garden. Usually nothing very exciting happened while I was in the banyan tree, but on one particular afternoon I had enough excitement to last me through the summer. Okay, when I did not feel like reading, when he did not want to reading, he did not have the feeling to read anything, what he would do, okay, he could at that time look down through the banyan leaves by sitting on the platform that he had built. He would simply sit down there by looking down the banyan down through the banyan leaves, and by doing like that he could see the world below him, or the many things that he could see by sitting on top of that platform. At grandmother hanging up, by sitting there he could sometimes see grandmother hanging up or taking down the washing. Washing here means the washed clothes, already washed clothes, and his grandmother would be sometimes hanging down the washed clothes, maybe on the washing line. Yes, at the cook quarreling with the fruit vendor, and then he could see cooks quarreling with a fruit vendor. Fruit vendor here means a fruit seller. They may be bargaining with the price of the fruits that he could see by sitting there. And sometimes he could see grandfather grumbling at the hardy Indian marigolds. Grandfather had a garden there, and there are so many kind of flowers, and this marigold, hardy here stand for very strong, and marigold is a very common garden flower. It's a garden flower, and grandfather has the habit of speaking to such a plants also. So he would sometimes speak to the hardy or very strong Indian marigolds, that type of flower, which insisted on springing up all over his very English garden. Okay, he is growing a garden there. It is similar to an English garden, and in that English garden there are so many such marigolds, and yes, it was his interest to grow such Indian marigolds in his garden, which he grows there just like a English garden. Okay, usually nothing very exciting happened while I was in the banyan tree. Okay, now the boy says that while sitting there on the platform of the tree, never there happened any such very exciting things, very interesting things, but on one particular afternoon only something like that happened. And he says that happening had enough excitement on him, and that excitement lasted through the summer. Throughout the summer, that excitement that he had on one particular afternoon lasted. Okay, now the boy is going to tell us about what was that thing which excited him throughout the summer. Let us see that. There was a time I saw a mongoose and a cobra fight to death in the garden, while I sat directly above them in the banyan tree. Okay, now the boy already said that while there was nothing to do, or while he was not having any interest to read any type of book, he would simply sit there and look down and see so many activities that is happening down. And here, one day what happened, one afternoon, he was sitting there, and he saw a mongoose. You know what is a mongoose? An animal. And a cobra. There was another one, that was a cobra, and both of them were fighting. Actually, there was a deadly fighting happening between the mongoose and the cobra. You know that the mongoose and the cobra are enemies, or mongoose are treat these snakes as enemies. So he happened to see that deadly fight while I sat directly above them in the banyan tree. At that time, while the mongoose and the cobra were in such a deadly fight, the boy was there on the banyan tree, sitting on the platform which he had built, and he was not reading then, he was just looking down, then happened to see the fight between mongoose and the cobra down. Now let us move to that story and what happened there actually. It was an April afternoon. Yes, when did the fight between mongoose and the cobra happen? It happened on an April afternoon. And the warm breezes of approaching summer had sent everyone, including grandfather, indoors. Okay, now it was very warm. It was a summer time, and the breezes were coming, but it was very hot. So what happened? And everyone were keeping inside because of the warm breezes blowing. even our grandfather went inside the house. Nobody was there outside the house then. I was feeling drowsy myself, and the boy says that at that time the boy himself was feeling a kind of a drowsiness, a sleepiness, a very tired he seemed then, and was wondering if I should go to the pond behind house for a swim. Okay, now he began to think how nice it would be if we could go to the pond that is behind the house and take a swim. Okay, everyone would like that. In the hot season, it would be a very common sight for everyone. People or children would be taking swimming or going for swimming in such ponds. That will give them some relaxation from the extreme heat. Okay, now the boy also wished like that. When I saw a huge black cobra gliding out of a clump of cactus and making for some cooler part of the garden. Okay, then yes, when I saw a huge black cobra gliding at that time, when he had such a feeling, what was that feeling? To go to the pond for having a swimming. That time, exactly at that time, he saw a huge black cobra, a cobra which was black in color, gliding out of a clump of cactus, and there was a group of cactus plant. You know, that's a kind of thorny plant, and out of that cactus plant, this black cobra was gliding, moving out slowly. Okay, then making for some cooler part of the garden. Why it was coming out like that? Because the cobra also want to have some coolness, and that is why the cobra was moving towards the garden where the cobra thought that he would get some cooling. Okay, and then at the same time a mongoose. Okay, at the same time a mongoose whom I had often seen. Okay, the mongoose was a frequent visitor of that area, and so the boy had often seen him, and that same mongoose emerged from the bushes. Okay, mongoose also came out from the bushes and went straight for the cobra. Okay, now the mongoose is moving towards the cobra. You know why? Because the mongoose want to catch the cobra, and that cobra is actually, or any snake is actually a prey to mongoose. That is why he was moving towards the cobra. In a clearing beneath the tree, in bright sunshine, they came face to face. So it's a very amazing, wonderful or horrible situation. In a clearing beneath the tree. Clearing here means an open space beneath the tree. In bright sunshine, as the sun was shining very brightly and it was very hot also, they came face to face. They here stand for the mongoose and the cobra. Now they are going to start a fight, and who is going to win, who is going to lose, that we will learn in the next lesson. So let us stop here and wait for the third part of this video. And before that, I advise you to go through the portion very well and read it, understand, write down the difficult words, find out the meaning, and if possible just go through the side questions and try to find out the answers to the questions given in the textbook yourself. And after finishing the lesson, we will move to so many other activities, and of course I will be here to help you with all such activities. Thank you.